Greetings, folks. Welcome back to the program. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. It's a live broadcast on YouTube. And this is a special session about refugee program for South Africans coming to the United States. It's time once again to remind people what this program is and what it's not and explain some of the challenges and the background information to it. As you can see at the top, the chat is disabled until after my monologue. I want to go through a number of things without people expressing their anger or their excitement about the program. And I just want to go through this so that you get a chance to understand some of the key aspects of the program that people don't seem to understand, as we now have new batches of South Africans applying for this program who had not heard of it previously or who had sat on the fence as thought-provoking and now want to join the program. Nothing wrong with that, but they don't understand what the program is about, and some people in the program still refuse to understand it a year after the program commenced. Behind me is an image of the monument at Blood River, in Combe River there, where the battle took place between the Zulu and the Voortrekkers. So that seems appropriate for this conversation. Let me get into some of my points I want to talk about in this South African refugee program. Now, the first thing I need to talk about here very clearly, folks, is that there is a challenge to this. A lot of people say they've got to get out, I've got to get out, I've got to get out of the country. This is, I've got to get out because you're a victim of crime. Well, I'm sorry to break this to you, but this is not a program for victims of crime. Please listen to my words very carefully. Being a victim of crime doesn't make you special. It's horrible. You shouldn't have to deal with that. But it doesn't make you special, and it doesn't grant you refugee status. That's not the basis for becoming a refugee. It's very clearly articulated on the U.S. Embassy website. If you have questions, you don't have to believe me. I give you the receipts. Go to za.usembassy.gov. za.usembassy.gov. And there you will find the conditions and the qualifications for applying for the program under the intake questionnaire that you submit. Now, a word of advice. If you submit an application, the intake questionnaire for this program, do it on a laptop or on a personal computer. Do not do it on a mobile phone or a tablet. It will take upwards of 7 hours in many cases for many individuals to complete. You can save your work periodically, but do not do it on a tablet or a mobile phone. If you make mistakes, it's hard to go back and fix it. It is not ideal for that. Take your time, be prepared to answer questions as fully and as complete as you can. That's my recommendation. Now, as far as who qualifies for this, if you look at the U.S. Embassy website, it says those of Afrikaner ethnicity and racial minorities who are in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to be in South Africa to leave under this program. It doesn't mean you have to be in South Africa to apply. Some people have applied from abroad and then gone back to South Africa and have come over successfully. But you must be in South Africa to exit South Africa. It's a program for refugees, not destination shoppers, not holiday makers, not people seeking immigration. This is not an immigration program. South Africans suffering unjust racial persecution in South Africa. And I would argue that you can make the case that political persecution given the raid on Woodmead. So, in South Africa, Afrikaner ethnicity or racial minority. And I can confirm with 100% accuracy that to date we have had black, white, colored, and Indian South Africans who've come over successfully in this program. You might be going, wait a second, I thought this was not for black people. Well, that depends on your circumstances. Every case is different. Every case is unique. Everyone thinks that they're the only ones that have gone through the experience they have. You're not. Others experience it, but the specific case is unique and the circumstances of it are unique. So you must, if you've suffered from crime, you must link it in some way to racially motivated crime. Millions of South Africans, tens of millions of South Africans are victims of crime. Most simply because people are thieves and police do nothing about this or don't have the capacity to respond to it. But if you've been a victim of crime and targeted because of your race, then that qualifies you. Going to an interview or filling out an intake questionnaire and saying, well, I was robbed, my house was broken into in 2007. That's not going to get you over here. That's insufficient. If you have been a victim of crime because of your race, you were specifically targeted and it's obvious, or you can articulate it and explain how that happened, well, that's a different story. If you've been denied unemployment or a bursary from university despite getting a 97 on your matric, these are clear reasons to be persecuted, racial persecution, and you will qualify. All right. So it needs to be clear. There are people now who are setting things in. I was robbed. I was carjacked. That's not going to get you to America because that's not racial persecution. That's crime. And that's the argument that the government of South Africa is making. Well, everyone's a victim of crime. And they're right. But we all know full well that most of the crimes perpetrated against white people are done because they're white. because of racial discrimination. They go after people because they're white. Either because they presume that you have money even when you don't, or they want to get whitey, or they're just flat out racist. Most of the crimes that we see, that's the situation. The home invasions of black South Africans seldom turn out the same way they turn out for white South Africans being raped and tortured and abused and executed. That rarely happens to black South Africans in a home invasion, but it happens to white South Africans every day. So you must be a victim of racial persecution. You need to understand that. Now, the difference between asylum, which is for someone already in America, seeking our protection to prevent them from going back to a horrific situation in which they're going to be persecuted or imprisoned or killed for their beliefs or their immutable factors like skin color. The difference between asylum, which is in country in the United States, and refugee status, which is for someone granted that outside the United States to come to America for safety, for succor, is that an asylum seeker must prove that they've been persecuted or a victim. They must prove it, and that's not easy to do. That's why so many asylum cases are denied in America. Over 90% of asylum cases are turned down because most of them, quite frankly, are fake. They're economic migrants who are looking for an easy path out of the crappy country they live in, and so they want to come to America and still spread their language and not assimilate. That's what most of them are. That's why most are denied for asylum seekers. Refugees have a much lower threshold. You must simply articulate your case. Articulate, if you're not familiar with English, and I know not everybody speaks English, means you must explain. You must clearly explain why you are a victim of racial persecution or why you have a legitimate fear of future racial persecution. And I would say that as a South African, if I cannot advance in my employment at a private company because the government has imposed racist laws under the Employment Equity Act Amendment, and now I cannot advance to a higher level because only 4.3% of managers can be white and I'm white, well, that would be racial persecution. To me, if I'm adjudicating your case, that alone is sufficient to get you to America. So make sure you can articulate what you're doing. Now I want to run through some key points that I want to focus on for the rest of this monologue. First off, becoming an in-country refugee will not be easy. I've told everyone that since the 7th of February last year. It will not be easy. If you think this is a cakewalk, then you're clearly in for the wrong program. This is not easy. You must take care of your own transportation and accommodation to meetings, interviews, and medical screenings in South Africa and to the airport when it is time for you to depart. The government of the U.S. will not pay for that. That is not their responsibility. Understand that normally, in most refugee situations, people are living in camps in a third country, and we have the United Nations helping with this program. In this case, the United States is doing in-country refugee status. So you are a legitimate refugee, despite the lies of South African politicians like Ronald Lamola and Cyril Ramaphosa. You are legitimate refugees, or Fikile Mabulula, under international norms and under U.S. immigration law. You are refugees if you qualify for this program. Despite their lies, you're a refugee. But you're in-country refugee, so you have to get to and from the places that you need to be addressed for screenings, for medical screenings, for interviews, that sort of thing. Now, aside from that, everything else in the program is free. If anybody tells you they'll put you on a list, they'll get you to the front of the queue, they can help you. If you just pay them, they are frauds. They are frauds. The only thing you will pay for in this program, and the program is not you going to meetings to get interviewed. The program is you being approved and sent out of the country. The only thing that you pay for, other than getting yourself to the airport to get out of the country, is the flights out of the country. The International Organization of Migration, a United Nations organization, funds a no-interest loan that you must begin repaying at the 6-month point after you've arrived in the United States. So along these lines, you cannot book your own travel. I've actually had people say, well, can I just book my own flight? No, it's not immigration. It's not a visa to visit America. It's not holiday making. It's not destination shopping. This is for people in desperate situation because of persecution. You cannot book your own travel. How can we let you book your own travel? We have to have agents at the airport to welcome refugees and to account for them with immigration. You can't simply walk into the country. I don't understand how that gets confused, but it's not a holiday. Get that straight. Now, I've said from the outset, and I've already seen 2 instances personally where it will divide families. It will divide and break families apart because people will not want to come over. And that is your choice, your decision to make. But understand that it's not our responsibility as America to take care of your family. If your family members want to stay, that is on them. Now, I know many cases where people contact me and the spouse has changed their mind. As long as you still qualify, or if you're the primary applicant, there's no issue there. However, it will break families apart. Last year in Hermanus, a man told me that he's coming. His wife doesn't want to come. I don't know their current status, but he wanted to come, and he'll come without her. He's had enough of South Africa and the persecution. I also know of a newlywed couple, a friend of mine, who got married last year, and now she's not coming, he's coming. It will break families apart. That is not our responsibility. That is for you to decide. This is not a farmer program. The lies being spread about this still 15 months after this program was announced are lies. This program was not designed for farmers. This program is not intended to provide a labor force for our farming community. That's what the H-1B visas are for. That's why we let people come over on visas to help our agricultural sector. We do not seek to bring South Africans here to be part of our farming community. That is not the purpose of it. And the vast majority of people who come here are not farmers. We already have 7,000 South Africans here. If they were all farmers, your farming community would have collapsed. There's only 28,000 commercial farmers in South Africa. It would have collapsed. Clearly, farmers are not coming over in major numbers, and it was never intended for them. It is not an Afrikaner program, despite the commentary of Cockprot24 and the Daily Shitbird, also known as Daily Maverick, and the toilet paper record known as IOL, and U.S. media outlets like the Washington Compost, New York Slimes, and others who lie about this program. It is not an Afrikaner program. It is not an Afrikaner program. Although the plurality and perhaps even the majority of arrivals, slight majority, are actually Afrikaner. It is also for other white South Africans, for coloreds, for Indians, and even for some black South Africans. I have interviewed black South Africans. I have interviewed colored South Africans. I have interviewed Indian South Africans and white South Africans, both English-speaking and Afrikaners, who have come to America successfully in this program. Do not believe the lies. If you do not believe me, you don't have to believe me. Do not trust me. That is your prerogative. Simply go to za.usembassy.gov, look at the requirements, and you will see that I am correct. And then you can go back and watch the videos on my YouTube channel of interviews with South Africans, including blacks, Indians, and coloreds, as well as white, English-speaking, and Afrikaans-speaking. It is not that. Now, if you are just looking for a job, don't bother applying. This is not a jobs program. It's not a jobs program. We are not looking for people to fill our labor force. And for the racist hustlers out there, we are also not doing this program to boost the declining white population of America. When I was a child, America had 130 million white people. Today, there's 230 million white people in this country. We've gained 100 million white people. White people aren't going away in this country. They're still the majority of the population. This program will not boost our white population. 7,000 South Africans and not all of them are white? What a ridiculous, asinine, juvenile commentary for any clown who claims that this is an effort by Trump to prevent people of color from coming here and to reinforce the white population. What a ridiculous joke that is. It is not a program for the poor. The amount of crying and whining and moaning in my chat program over the past year on YouTube for people, well, why are rich people coming over? Because you're not listening. It is not a program for poor or the destitute. Rich, poor, it doesn't matter. Victims of racial persecution. That should be clear to people. Why that's not clear, I don't understand. This is not to save you from not having a job. If you can't get a job, that's not our problem. If you're being persecuted, that's the reason you can't get a job, then that's something we'll consider to bring you over. Make sure you understand that. It's also not a program for young people. I get that all the time. 8 to 88, it does not matter. Recently born, 90-year-olds, it doesn't matter. We have an 89-year-old go-go who came over here and moved to Texas. 89 years of age. Age doesn't determine whether you qualify for this program. It does not. Nor does being poor or rich. Back to the poor and rich thing. In 1938, the United States welcomed 93,000 Jews from Germany into America. A far smaller number than we probably should have taken, but we took in 93,000. Many of them were wealthy and connected. After Kristallnacht, they fled South Africa. After Kristallnacht, they fled Germany. Sorry. Yeah. They fled Germany. 93,000 came to America. Many of them were wealthy. Some were no longer wealthy because their shops had been destroyed by the racist, anti-Semitic Jew haters on Kristallnacht. It's not a program for the rich. It's not a program for the poor. It's a program for the persecuted and oppressed. It's not a program for healthy people. I get this a lot. A lot of South African arrivals here have health issues, serious health issues on their arrival. We've dealt with cancer, Lou Gehrig's disease, and all sorts of other problems that South Africans have had. Burdens that the American taxpayer is largely funding because South Africa's abysmal healthcare system. particularly the state system. If you have cancer, that will not prevent you from coming here. Apply if you want to come. If you have another medical issue, unless it's an issue that prevents you from flying, go ahead and apply. Healthy program, it's not. It's a program for South Africans suffering from persecution. Once again, it is a program for people suffering from unjust racial persecution. Now, some advice. Be prepared to struggle. This is not a cakewalk. This is not a vacation. You are not going to hit the ground and people are going to coddle you and wet nurse you. You must get yourself through this program. Also, no one is entitled to come over. We have no obligation whatsoever to take a single refugee in this country. That's not the role of this nation. The role of this government is to protect American citizens and our interests, not to take refugees. No one's entitled to come over. If you're angry, that's your issue, not ours. Now, also, many South Africans have very nice accommodation, which they're abandoning to come over here. You are not likely to have the same level of accommodation that you had in South Africa. Unless you're living in an informal settlement or a hovel, you're likely not to have the same level of accommodation because you don't have any money. You don't have any resources. Unless you're independently wealthy, you don't have that. So you're going to have to live off of grant money until you get your Social Security number and or your EAD, your employment authorization document, so you can go work. You are likely to struggle financially when you initially arrive in America. That's just a fact. If that bothers you, then this is not for you. This is not a welfare program. You are expected to get to work as soon as possible. And I get the question all the time, well, I'm 63. And? Are you physically capable of working? Then get to work. There are federal laws against age discrimination in America. I'm not saying it doesn't occur. I'm not saying there's no racism in this country. We have that. We've seen it exhibited towards white South Africans. But you are expected to work if you're of working age. Now, that said, be prepared for obstacles. The administration and many states are clamping down. We've seen in Ohio where they've gone out of their way to make it very difficult for refugees to get a driver's license as a consequence of Indians coming to this country who are not qualified to drive being handed commercial driver's license and then murdering people on our highways because of California, handing a license out to people who shouldn't be driving. As a consequence, now states are cracking down. Ohio is one of the first, forcing refugees to go through what essentially amounts to $700 of expenses to pay for driving lessons, even if you've driven for 30 or 40 years and you're qualified to drive, and to take classes and to drive with an instructor during the day and night. Be prepared for obstacles like that. That happens. The administration itself has created obstacles with the Big Beautiful Bill in the summer of 2025, which banned food stamps for non-green card holders and non-U.S. citizens. In an effort to clamp down on illegal aliens, they unfortunately caught refugees in that net, which means you will not qualify for SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or food stamps. But there are programs you can qualify for when you arrive here. I'm not going to profess to be an expert on that. Every state is different. Some states have matching grants. You need to become aware of this and do a Google search when you arrive here in the state that you're in to quickly find out what programs. TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, is another program. Now, if you come over here with significant financial resources, you won't be eligible for some of these programs. This is not a welfare program. We are not here to wet nurse you. You are entitled to safe, affordable, sanitary accommodation when you arrive here. And you are entitled to a case officer who looks out for your grant money with judicious responsibility for protecting your funds. Not everybody gets that. That's unfortunate. Just did an interview with a family in Toledo, Ohio, who have a case officer who does exactly that. But I've also interviewed people all over the country who do not have a case officer who looks out for their best and their well-being. Some refugee case officers, unfortunately, are racist and bigots. I've heard comments like the following: well, you're only here because you're blonde and blue-eyed, or you shouldn't be here. My people can't come here anymore. Well, it's not a program to bring your people here, the bigot and racist who said that. This program isn't to bring your people from Afghanistan or your people from Kyrgyzstan or your people from the DRC. It's what our government decides. And if you don't like that, you can carry your bum back to those countries because you don't belong here. Because it's not your people. You're here as a refugee, as a guest. If you become a citizen, then you're an American. And that stuff isn't your concern anymore. So I just want to make sure that people understand what this program is and what it's not. It is not destination shopping. It is not holiday making. It is not you finding a place to go hang out because you want to be here. That is not what this program is about. It is also not a program that is done in 6 weeks. I have to be honest. I cringe when I get comments from people, well, I did my interview last week. Should I be gone already? Are you serious? Are you serious? Refugees must be vetted properly, something not accomplished by and large during the Biden regime. They must be vetted properly. That's an investigation. As a former federal law enforcement official, a counterintelligence agent, badge and credential, who did the investigations similar to what these are into your background for many, many people, I can tell you that it can take a long time, particularly if there's anything untoward in there or if you're older. If you're over the age of 30, your investigation takes longer. Over the age of 40, even longer, 50, it can take a long time. If you served in the military, you served in the police, particularly in South Africa, which has a history of racial persecution, flipped around the other way, then it may take longer. If you have a pending court case against you, it can take longer. It is unrealistic to apply for this program and expect to leave in 30, 60, 90, 120 days. That is unrealistic. And I don't want to hear the stories from people. Well, I know people. I don't know anybody. You can tell me that. I know one person that's come to this country in less than 3 months. One person, excluding the 59ers who were well vetted. Trust me. One person. And that was a unique case, a very unique case. And that's it. Not open for discussion. It takes 18 to 24 months or longer normally for a refugee, even in country, to get out of the country. That's just the way it works. Given that the United Nations is not working with us on this program other than funding the flight for refugees, it takes even longer. Also, bear in mind that the United States has not done this for some time. In-country refugee resettlement is not a program we do every day. We did it in Cuba, and I actually know a Cuban who's here, who's a case officer now, an American citizen, who came over on an in-country refugee program. And we did it for Bosnia and Herzegovina. But we generally don't do this. It takes extreme circumstances. And the situation in South Africa is extreme. But this is not a jobs program. It's not destination shopping. You are expected to come here, obey our laws, contribute to society, pay taxes by getting a job and becoming self-sufficient as quickly as possible. As I said, that's the expectation. I understand the reality is different for some people. And every case is unique. Every case is different. So do not make assumptions about what this program is or who qualifies for it or who it's for. There are a lot of people, if you're just now applying under the intake questionnaire, 15 months after the program began, there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people ahead of you. Now, whether you get over here before them is a different story. I can't attest to that. But in an earlier interview today, I spoke to someone, and there are people in the chat who were there at the interview the same day that person was, and they're not here. There are people who came before them, who applied after them. That is the nature of this program. And comparing yourself to someone else is unfair. It's also unrealistic because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes, nor do I. But I can tell you from experience, I know how this stuff works behind the scenes. And it isn't pretty. It's like making sausage. It's like making sausage. Again, folks, all you have to do to understand this program is go to za.usembassy.gov. Click on the refugee program. It will tell you the requirements. If you think you're even remotely interested in this, you should apply. I'm not encouraging you to apply. I'm not discouraging you to not apply. I'm just telling you that if you think it's for you, you should do it. Now, there are a lot of things about when you arrive here that we can discuss, and I'm going to go on in this broadcast, and I'm going to talk about those questions and answer it. In just a moment, I'm going to open up the chat for people here on YouTube. This will also be later shared on Facebook so that people can see what was said here because a lot of people don't follow YouTube. But I'll open up to the chat and people are welcome to ask questions. I'll answer them as best I can. You know that, of course, on Sundays when I'm available, I do the Refugee Cafe Clutch. But this is a special session because a lot of people now are flooding to the intake questionnaire and they're simply telling the U.S. government that they were robbed. Well, that's not going to get you to America. It's not my role to coach you, but I can tell you what is not acceptable. Being a victim of crime is not acceptable. All right? Also want to frame expectations so you understand what you're getting into. It's not a cakewalk. Although the last interview we had, it seems like some people do have a very easy transition and a cakewalk. But it is not that. I had someone write to me months ago saying, all right, when I do this program, I need to come back to South Africa to do these tours 4 times a year. And I said, well, no. He's like, what do you mean? I said, this isn't, you're not being let in as an immigrant. You're coming as a refugee if you do this program. Either you're suffering racial persecution or not. How can you go back to the country you just came from 4 times a year if you're not suffering racial persecution? That doesn't make any sense. Particularly to go back and do exactly the same thing you did. Presumably you kept your house too because you're going to go back there. It doesn't make any sense. It shows you the level of ignorance about the program and misunderstanding. Again, it's a refugee program. It's not for Afrikaners. It's for racial minorities. It's not for the young. It's for everyone. It's not for the healthy. It's for everyone. It's not a program to rebuild America's white population. That ain't going to happen with a drop in the bucket of South Africans coming over here. We have more illegals crossing this country on a daily basis, at least before Trump. And it's not for people who are healthy. If you're healthy, that's great, fantastic. If you're not healthy, that doesn't prevent you coming here unless you have a communicable disease. If you have a communicable disease that can be transmitted, you can't come. Airlines will not let you on a plane coughing up tuberculosis. That ain't going to happen. You're going to have a sputum test. You're going to have the antibiotics. You're going to have to be clear of it. It's going to have to be latent instead of active. You cannot come here with active tuberculosis or something like Ebola. That ain't going to happen. All right? Now, there are also some things that you're not going to like. Some people don't like the fact you have to get immunizations. If you don't like the fact you have to get immunizations, then you shouldn't apply for this program. USCIS, the United States Customs Immigration Service, first mission is to protect Americans, not to help refugees. Its mission is to protect America. And it protects America by preventing disease-ridden people from coming into our country. So if you have a communicable disease, you're not coming here. If you haven't got a vaccination for measles, mumps, or rubella, you're going to get one. If you haven't got a vaccination for some other things, you're going to get one. If you don't want that or you have an objection to it, then you're not going to come here unless you can explain a clear religious exception, and then they'll consider it. Again, America owes you nothing. This is a gracious and generous program opened up by President Trump. You're going to face bigotry and racism from some Americans who don't understand and who are ignorant about what's going on. Let me explain what a refugee is. A refugee is not a black person from the Congo fleeing from war. They can be refugees. A refugee is not an Afghan fleeing from a war in Afghanistan. They can be. An Afghan is not a Kyrgyz national coming here. A refugee is a person suffering from persecution, often on immutable factors like race or religion or ethnic origin. Refugees, from the end of the Second World War until the 1990s, with the exception of the Vietnamese boat people in the 1970s, with the exception of them, the vast majority of refugees who came to this country were white Christian Europeans. White Christian Europeans. That was the majority of refugees that went to Canada and came to the United States for decades. The face of a refugee was a hungry, starving, persecuted European, not an African, not a Middle Easterner, not an Asian. That began to change in the 1990s. And now these people who are historically ignorant do not understand what being a refugee means. It doesn't mean that. It means a person persecuted. All right? Keep that in mind. So white people coming here is not an anomaly. It was the norm at one point. But Europe, other than Bosnia, has not had these major conflicts until Ukraine. But we took in 300,000 white, Christian, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Ukrainians in less than 3 years. And none of these bigots and racists had anything to say. The reason they act this way is because they're historically ignorant and don't understand the history of South Africa. You have to be prepared to deal with that. It's rare, but it does happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up my initial monologue. I'm going to open up the chat here on YouTube. Those who watch it after the fact on Facebook can always come to YouTube and check this out if they want to see what the comments were. I want to thank you for your patience. I'm going to answer questions now, and we're going to have a Refugee Cafe Clutch that we normally have on Sunday. God bless and thank you for being here. No reason to leave. I'm going to now open up the chat. I'm just letting you know that that's the end of my monologue. All right, so let's fix that very quickly and turn the chat back on. Live chat. All right, the chat is turned back on, folks. If you're a subscriber to the channel, you can now chat. You're welcome to chat, okay? All right, and as you can see, I turned off the chat until after my monologue. Okay, so I can turn off that as well. Anybody here? Anybody chatting? Or is it just me? Am I flying solo? 751 people currently here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you don't mind my backdrop. That's a photograph that I took when I was at the Blood River Monument. There we go. All right, there we go. People are chatting now. Jasper says, hello, sir. Thank you for all you do for us. Yes, Jasper, I saw your horrific comments. Not your comments, but horrific situation happened in the last chat. Thank you for sharing that. Debbie Ackerman's here. Brendan Butman. Colonel Chris, do you anticipate delays or hold on flights to America within the country? No, I don't anticipate any flight delays. The only reason I think flights might be delayed is there's no fuel in South Africa. There may be no avgas in South Africa because of the current situation with the war. That might be a problem. Hey, Delia, what's going on? I anticipate there could be. But the president has now sent to Congress his determination they're going to send 10,000 more South Africans over here this fiscal year. That's June, July, August, September. That means 2,500 per month if they live up to that standard, if they meet that standard. In order for that to happen, they're going to have to fly a lot of people over here. So we already saw how they started engaging other airlines like KLM, Lufthansa, Air France, and British Airways to get South Africans out. So there are lots of ways to get people out. So Rian, that's my anticipation on that. All right, it's a good question. The World Cup is not going to affect it, in my view. Yeah, you may have to refresh the page to get the chat to work. If I apply as a car guard or rocket scientist, it won't make a difference. It's correct, Truth Seeker. It doesn't matter whether you're a nuclear scientist or you shovel crap from portalets. It doesn't matter. This is not a jobs program. Ian says, straightforward and to the point. Thanks, Chris. You're welcome. Miki says, thank you for what you do. It's my pleasure. The first thing we want to feel in the USA is safe. Well, most people say that's the first thing to notice. Thank you, Colonel. You're spoiling us today with 3 streams. Well, it's hardly the first time, Susie, that I do 3 streams in one day. I normally do 2 or 3 streams every Sunday, unless I'm traveling. So, yeah, last Sunday I didn't do 3 because I was exhausted. I was knackered after my trip. Elmarie, welcome to you. Max DK, hello. Fanny Minnie, welcome to you. Please tell people not to do multiple. Yeah, thank you, James. Yeah, doing a multiple application will not help your chances. It will hinder your chances. If they have to sift through multiple applications from the same family, they're likely to put you aside because you've irritated them, but they're certainly not going to be able to process it any faster. Okay? All right, so that's a good point. All right, let me turn on the alerts. Where are they at here? Come on. Alert box. There we go. Okay, cool beans. All right. Okay, where else? Thank you, Colonel. Okay. Henry Swanepoel, welcome to you. Max DK. Yeah, I already told people not to do multiple applications. Okay, and then we made it. We arrived last week to the USA. Carmen Tigris, congratulations to you. Where are you in the USA, if you don't mind sharing? Why does it take longer if you're over a certain age? Oh, you mean from the investigations? Because you've done more things in your life. There's more time to have to investigate there, man like Josh. There's more things. I've explained this before. As a military person with a top secret clearance who undergoes polygraphs periodically, my first polygraph lasted like 18 minutes. It was done and dusted. I was young. Next one took a little bit longer. The last one took almost 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, because I've had a life. So they asked me questions like, have you ever given intelligence, classified information to a foreign intelligence service? And my answer is like, yes. And the guy's like, yes. When? Well, this date. Why? Because I was told to. What do you mean you're told to? Well, it was my job. We had an intelligence exchange with a foreign nation. It was cleared for that nation. But you asked me if I disclosed classified information. I did. It was releasable to that country, but I gave it to them because I was told to. So these things take longer when you get older. The older you get, the more you've experienced in life, the more chance you had to screw up. It takes longer to investigate. I'm excited and ready to work hard in USA. We're honest, good people and want to do all the right things. Okay, Jasper. Cool beans. Henry went out and came back in to get the chat. Yep. Hank Adrian say, there is an OG. Hank's been around a long time. How's it going? Charles Van Olsen, the voice of reason. He says, so me, my family, and 9,996 other South Africans coming soon. Yeah, refresh your page. You'll get the chat. Thank you, sir. No fuel for Oryx helicopters, the Air Force joke. That's correct, Andre. I've already covered that story on the news. There is no fuel for them. That's correct. BB Bushwolf loves the background. Well, thank you. That's my photograph I took. I took it with that angle so you can see that hillock back there, that kopie. See that kopie back there? I thought that was really cool, just above the little where the ladder's put in there. I thought it was really cool. Oh, got a super chat coming up there. Ro, welcome to. People just Leister what Colonel answers on questions. Oh, just listen. Okay. Very succinct, informative monologue. Thank you, Karen. Very good explanation. Future persecution helps a lot for those who don't know. Exactly, Michelle Duchess. Alan Gill, it's been long overdue. The problem is you will find that there are still going to be those who don't understand what was just said. Alan, thank you for the $10. Long overdue. Well, I've said this repeatedly on live streams and repeatedly in prepared videos. Long overdue? Yeah, I suppose, by calling a special session. But I've done this over and over and over again. And people just do not listen. They hear what they want to hear. Or they forget very quickly. Geldenhuis, do you really believe that the 100,000 apply for this program? Because if that's the case, imagine it would be like winning a lottery to get out. I have no idea how many applied for it. Okay? I can just tell you the information I had available, and I base my estimate off of that. If my estimate's accurate, then there's probably a couple 100,000 people who applied for this program. But I don't know that that's true. No one knows whether that's true or not. I do know that obviously at least 10,000 more people have applied for it because they're going to let 10,000 more people in this fiscal year. And that's just this fiscal year. Yeah, so I don't know. I made a good faith analysis of this about a year ago. I haven't tried to make any analysis of it since then because the U.S. government is not providing more information. I do know that in May of last year, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, testifying in the Senate 2 weeks after the statement of interest came out, said that 72,000 people or 70,000 people had applied for that. So that was 70,000. That's what he said, as 2 weeks after it opened up. Yep. Lizette, what's going on? What's your take on the Daily Wire story on X about what's happening with the approved refugees getting neglected? Well, Ink Addict, I've covered this since before the Daily Wire or CBS or the Free Press got involved in this. One other social media commentator had covered this story, and I was solving problems. And then I eventually, after going to Rochester, started reporting on it. What's the Daily Wire story? Well, the Daily Wire story, once again, like the CBS Free Press, only talks to a handful of refugees. They only talk to people who give them negative stories. They don't talk to people in the aggregate. Yes, these things are happening. I've covered it endlessly. I don't recognize seeing you here. I don't know if you're new to the program, but I cover this endlessly. So I'm an objective journalist, commentator. I don't go for just the things that confirm my preconceived notions. Yes, there are people who are having problems, and there are reasons for it. It's NGOs, it's the government, it's the law, it's lots of things, and it's refugees themselves. Some refugees are simply not suitable people, and they come here and they're entitled and arrogant, and they're rude to their case officers. But most of it's a situation the case officers not doing their job. These are people being paid a salary who don't do their job. And it's a smaller number than people think because the media are trying to make it out like it's everybody. I comment on the Daily Wire story on the Daily Wire and said that, yes, what you say is true, but you are not getting the story correct because they didn't get the story correct. Spook says, thank you for a very informative video. You're welcome. New approach to live was awesome. Well done. I ask, wouldn't it be beneficial for us to do a live together with the same approach? We'll do another live together. Yep. It's not a new approach, Waving Hunter. I've used this before. It's just that most of my audience prefers the chat be turned on. And it just depends. I've sacrificed views on important videos because I turned off the chat in the past. So, yep. It's not a new approach. It's just an infrequent approach. But thank you. Praying for some movement in 2.5 weeks. It will be 7 months. Yeah, that sucks, Sigi. I don't know why yours is taking so long. Adrian, thank you for sharing the truth. You're welcome. Chris will be over June, just waiting for you to hear from my own Forget Your Days. Okay. Somebody just said thank you. My chat jumped up there. I'm way behind here. Let me try to catch up in the chat as quickly as possible here. Wow, I'm way behind. That jumped quite a bit. Okay. That was okay. All right, that's where I was. There are a lot of low-hanging fruit on people waiting to fly out, so 25 per month will be easy to accomplish. I agree, Sonia. It's going to be easy for them to do that, as long as they have the resource to bring them over and a place to send them. Good evening. Thank you for your personal sacrifice, time invested in our well-being. You're welcome, Mr. Magoo. Max says, hopefully people understand it better now because I think that some people who only join the program now have been fed so much nonsense. Yes, well, I've been saying, but I've been talking out my backside, just talking endlessly about this for ages. Hey, Barbie. Leslie says, thank you, Colonel, for putting the record straight. Sadly, it seems there are so many people who cannot read or comprehend since it's all laid out on the embassy website. It is. But not everything I said is on the embassy website. Much of that is my analysis, and it's all proven to be correct over the past year. Sanj, what's going on, man? Slow mode needs to be activated on channel. It's running a lot. No, it's okay. Chat rate's only 13. That's not high. If it was 40, I would put slow on. I know that this is probably becoming old, and I've asked a few times, but is Morgan still? Yes, Pet Lift is still in operation. There is something happening, Susie. That is correct. That is correct. But if you have the resources, just get your own pets over here. Don't wait. If you're okay. Carmen says, we arrived last week. Facebook is Southern Star Cowgirl. I'm sharing my experience there. Okay, well, thank you, Carmen. You want to come on here? Let me know. Local Jane, welcome to Emerald City Refugees Back. Thanks again for pointing out the important facts. Appreciate it. Much respect. You're welcome. Oh, the Hadidas. Hey, Jane. The Hadidas. They are big supporters. Thank you, ladies, so much, and the gents who are associated with Spirit Light. How do we deal with possible discrimination from caseworkers? You report it, as I said in my video, which I prepared, to Office of Refugee Resettlement. Be succinct. Follow the directions I put in the video. It was on April 12th, I think, is when I put the video out. So go back and look for that, okay? Teresa Creel says, thank you, very welcome. Cruiser Phoenix is back. Rion's Wi-Fi. Having recently completed our USS interview, there was an obvious focus on whether we were Afrikaans speaking. It was almost a sticking point. That's the first time I ever heard of such a thing, and it could be a case officer that you were talking to, an investigator. We did not watch your video how to apply for the. If we put our family on one application, made my father principal, can we fix it when the phone? I'm not sure, Tis, what your question is. So you put your father on there. Are you a minor? I understand that. If you're of age, then you need to do your own case, your own intake questionnaire. What do you mean fix it? Put your father on that. I don't understand that question at all. You can't fix anything once it's in. It doesn't change. So you'll have to wait till they contact you and then adjust it. Don't feel like you're less a person. They just label you a refugee. Millions of people were refugee throughout the past 100 years. Yep. Oh, being a refugee, it's not a black mark. That Canadian immigration consultant that they put on Newsroom Africa tried to disparage this program a year ago and lied about it and said that, well, it's a black mark. You can't go anywhere. That's BS. That guy was full of it. Christy says, thank you for clearing this up, Colonel. Most people don't understand the process. Are you too lazy to go them way? That's true. Jasper did an offsite interview. Okay, you're waiting. Okay. Eudora, what's up? One pet home. Please advise. I went for my interview and failed to mention I had knee replacement many years ago. How do I fix this? Why would you need to mention you had a knee replacement? It has nothing to do with the program. This is not a medical program, one pet home. Don't understand your question. Knee replacement? That has nothing to do with anything. The only thing that's going to affect is you go to the airport, you need to let them know that you've got metal in your knee so that you go through the detector and they can see it. I don't understand. The knee replacement has nothing to do with this, unless you're telling me that you got a knee replacement because your knee was destroyed by a racist for some reason. Last Domino, what's up? Thank you for the you're welcome, Ultrabellic. Okay, who else we got in here? We're still over 700. Be sure to hit that like button, folks, if you haven't hit it already. Approved after 14 months since first contact. USCIS interview was last week. Approved 2 days after. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Kratky, welcome to you. Spartan God. Yassine. Andre, 350 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. Arctic says, some of you need to go back and watch this from the start and then rewatch it again. I think so, Arctic. I think so. I think you watch this video from the restart and even go back to watch my video list from the very beginning last year, which, by the way, I prepared as a recommendation from Arctic, who said I should do that because the questions were insane that first weekend from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He's like, you got to make videos on this, and I did. Now, some of the information has changed. You know, you used to be eligible for food stamps. That's no longer the case. But generally speaking, most of what I said there is accurate, especially about how the program works. Adrian, 140. What's the goal, man? I haven't put a super chat goal up. Earl Abraham Cook, thanks for the session. Really need to hear this content, but I find out my application has been somehow suspended because my email I've been using has been suddenly blocked. What do you mean your application is suspended? I've not heard of such a thing before. Thank you for that, Roshan Mayer. What's going on there? Somebody, people joining. I'm not sure, Earl. What does that mean? And the other option is you try to send them an email and tell them that your account's blocked. Why is your email blocked? I don't understand that. And Brendan's been under review forever. Okay. Well, not forever. The program's only existed since May of last year. Ask, I divorced this week and got my decree. Do I need the unabridged marriage certificate with this marriage? You need whatever has all the information. I don't know what that is. This unabridged is some nonsense from South Africa. I've never heard of such a thing before. Some people mention that they did police clearance. You don't need police clearance, Christy. You don't need a police clearance unless you're told to go get one. Do you honestly think, I don't understand. Sorry, Chris, it's not direct to you, but you really need to use common sense here. Unless you're told to get something from the police, like fingerprints, because your fingerprints don't show up, you need the police to do it. Unless you're told to go do that by the U.S. government, why would we take information from the government that's persecuting you and accept it as real? Especially when we know that you can just go slip 200 Rand to somebody and you get a police clearance. I mean, come on. No, you're not required to get a police clearance. Why would we trust those people? Thank you, Mr. de Klerk, for becoming a member. Miki said we had a rough start after we landed. We kept going, kept working hard. Some things are getting better, but slowly we're getting there. Miki, I don't even know where you're at. Where are you at? Bubba, look, kid. Nice background. Was also blood to remind me. Okay, every white hair he has is for a secret he knows. I was wondering why in the flight mail the word tentative isn't bold in caps so people don't take it. Well, people don't listen. I should have put that in the video too. That's tentative. You're tentatively approved. And then people sell their homes, get rid of their cars, and then they complain. No. You get that email, that means you could leave in 2 to 4 weeks. Now, sometimes if there's a flight opening, people go sooner. But it means to be prepared to leave in 2 to 4 weeks. So in theory, you're supposed to have 2 to 4 weeks to start, unwinding your things, uncluttering, getting rid of things. But it doesn't mean quit your job, take your kids out of school, and cancel your lease. No. Why my son who's in a different province can't do his medical interview separately? Because your son is an adult and he can't do it with you because you're not related. He's not your family, Lorette. Your son is not your family. He's obviously either with another parent or he's an adult living elsewhere. That's not your family. Your family is your immediate nuclear family. Your spouse and your minor children. That's your family. Not your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your nephews. No. And your son, if your son is 22 and he lives in Western Cape and you live in Mpumalanga, no, he'll go in his case. You can't do it. That's why. I don't understand why this is so hard for people to understand. You have a separate case. Every case is different. Maybe I don't have all the information from Lorette. Having chance is better than having none at all. You're right about that, Klaus. I think people lose sight of that. Received 10 of email travel anxiously waiting those tickets. Thanks for all the advice. I did the statement in May, the IQ the day it came out, and I've been in Nashville for 2 weeks. Hard as it is, people need to be patient with their turn. Yeah, Francois, but people don't want to listen to me. It's easy for me to say. No, it's easy for me to say because it's factual. I'm not saying it's easy for me to experience because, it's a very different situation to experience it. And you're in Nashville. If you want to do an interview, let me know. We had our USCIS interview March 30th and never heard anything back. Should we be concerned about rejection? No. You have to be sent a letter of denial. If you're denied the program, you have to be sent a letter of denial. No one has ever been able to show me a letter of denial. Hope you're keeping my corner lawn. Yeah, no, my lawn is watered. It was fertilized, but it looks funny because some of it's dark green, the rest is pale green because it looks like the green there that you see in Blood River right there. So right there. That pale green, that's what my grass looks like, which is unfortunate. There we go, like that. It's unfortunate because part of it looks bright green because I didn't fertilize all of it. It started raining the day after fertilizing. It's a few weeks ago. What does it mean if my intake questionnaire says complete after fingerprints? What's next? Well, whatever they tell you is next, Jennifer. Stop going to the portal and worrying about it. They'll contact you. It means a lot of things. It changes back and forth. Okay, 12 weeks for feedback. My mail was there then. I think a lot of people have applied for it and more keep applying. That's correct, Bitterender. If you're not medical fit to fly, I will sing so travel by sea. What do you mean not medically fit to fly? I don't understand that. Do you need to be taken in a hyperbaric chamber? I mean, other than that, I don't know who wouldn't be medically fit to fly. Do you require medevac flight? Lots of things can be done, Debbie. I can't answer that question directly. We articulate fear of persecutors. We unfortunately haven't been attacked yet like our friends. Well, that's not unfortunate. That's good. 6 months since our interview and haven't received any approval yet. Alley Cat's been waiting since last year. When are you coming to visit Texas again? Well, John Brown, I've been down there, and I'm not a millionaire, and the super chats aren't coming nearly as fast as they could come. So I pay for this out of my own pocket. I have a credit card bill this month just for my trips, and it's not the complete bill. It's just one credit card, $2,800 for my travel last month to Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York, and then my trips down to Virginia. Now, I did get some sponsors gave me a little bit of money, but that money's already been spent on future tickets. So, it's expensive. I'll get there when I get a chance. But if you look at the map, well, it's going to be a little hard to see on the screen. But if you look at the map that I show, I've been clustered in a couple areas. It's not easy. The direct and indirect economic impact, people are leaving refugee program. That is going to be a big joke. Hey, Dion, what's going on? Dion Lodikin's been around a long time. When you get the flight email, don't quit your job until you get the tickets. Exactly. It can take longer than 3 months, Truth Seeker. Thank you. Delia and her husband, Cool Beans, have been waiting for their tickets since December. They were approved in December, and they haven't flown yet. Thank you, Colonel, for all you do for us. I'm so grateful for you. You're truly doing God's work by keeping us informed. If not for you, we would never have known the truth. Well, you're very welcome, Rihanna. Thank you. If you are unfit to fly, I believe you cannot go. The program is not facilitating cruises. Not to my knowledge, but that doesn't mean medevac flights can't be done. Is it safe to assume because we fear future persecution we might not be seen as urgent? No, it's not safe because you might be in a situation where that future persecution could be tomorrow. Future doesn't mean 10 years from now. It can mean tomorrow. So, and it just jumped on me again. Thank you for your membership, Russo. Trying to get back to where I was there a moment ago. Oh my goodness, it really jumped a long way. There's Delia. Cool Bean says hi and thank you. You're welcome, Delia. When you get something quickly, you won't value it. When we are patient and go through the process, the wait, the stress, the victory is so much sweeter, says Jasper. That's a fair point. I'm still awaiting, says Lindsay. My medicals had to be redone after a place in Santa never submitted my papers. Well, that sucks. I believe people also need to take what others say with a pinch of salt. They should stay out of social groups. Ignore my case. Yeah, no. I'm with you on that 100%, Pat Meister. I think that people should, thank you for the super chat, I think that people should simply ignore WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, where people are spreading and churning nonsense here. You know, people get all spazzed out over someone you don't even know who's making a claim that they don't substantiate, and it's utter nonsense. And then you get all spazzed out. I've wasted so much of my life answering questions from people who just can't use good judgment. Cannot thank you enough. We arrived last week. We slept under the American flag. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm glad you made it. I believe people also need to take... Okay, yeah. Yeah, you can also jeopardize your refugee status by going into those refugee groups which are being monitored and saying things you shouldn't be saying, disclosing things about the program you shouldn't be disclosing. You could jeopardize your status. So loose lips sink ships. Marriage certificate for 87 reprinted was automatically unabridged. Does not say unabridged. Okay, Marina, I don't know what to tell you about that. Misty, welcome. Been a while. How you doing? Angelique, hello. Francois, thanks. Your channel is very helpful. I try to make it helpful, whether I'm covering, you know, the Basutu cultural village or interviewing the last first language speaker of an almost extinct language of Nu, a San language, or I'm talking Afrikaners, or I'm at Soltech for Solidarity's technical school, or on the campus of academia. I'm always trying to cover interesting things. Only 483 likes. Is that true? No, we're at 569 now. I must be how far behind the chat. Okay. Thank you. Do you perhaps know if an unabridged birth certificate is required for adults? A birth certificate is not required for adults, although I've heard people recently say they're being asked for birth certificates at the interview. That's news. That had not been done in the past. By and large, you need a birth certificate with your parents' names on it, if they're known, when you apply for a green card. If you don't have one and you made a good faith effort, you document that, go get it notarized, explain where you went, the dates you went, what you paid for it, receipts you have, give them that thing, scan it, get it notarized, and then hopefully that will suffice. They can make exceptions, they can give waivers. But if everybody comes and says they don't have it because they made no effort, they're just going to deny you a green card. You're going to have a problem. Okay? Thank you for everything you do. So great for all your efforts and support. People must make sure in Leicester. Yeah, Leicester macht opio oor. Yeah, exactly. Make your ears open. Chris van Niekerk, is there any way to make contact with USCIS to inquire about? No, there isn't, Chris. There isn't. You can send an email to RSC. Good luck with that. But no, there's no way to contact. I have no contact with USCIS. From all the real Afrikaners, I just want to thank you for your efforts, support, and dedication. Appreciate your information. Please excuse the cars and morons. Thank you, Peter Huttinger. Barbie. Carl says, if I could send you $10,000 to pick us up in a container Blackhawk, I'd be happy to oblige. Hey, Carl, thanks. Will this be a slow week due to U.S. holiday and Wednesday or Thursday holiday in Kenya? Well, I don't know the contract that the Kenyans have. They may be forced to work on Kenyan holidays. I can't answer that question. U.S. holiday is on Monday. So, yes, the embassy won't be working on Monday. It's Memorial Day tomorrow. Yep. I will be working, but no one else will. Okay. Grok Matrix says, thank you for the analysis. Truth Seeker, please don't quit your job, sell your car, give up your rental, and you get the attentive email. Yep. Yes, you need an unabridged birth certificate for the green card application after 1 year. You can get through the South Embassy in Washington. Best to try to get it before you leave. All true statements. All things I've said previously. Tomahawk Smoke Week stopped before medicals, but still tested positive. Went for psych evaluation, was put on 12-month hold. Other peeps were put on 3-month hold. That does sound like he was being biased. A 12-month hold, psych evaluation. Well, I warn people, Tomahawk, I warn people, THC stays in your system for 30 days minimum. I warn people not to smoke weed. Not to smoke weed. We're not taking drugs. I don't know why people, I'm not picking on you, Tomahawk, but I don't know why people have this need to smoke marijuana. It's an illicit substance. It's illegal in America. Some states have foolishly allowed it, but it's an illegal substance according to the federal government. Yep. Alrighty, we did. Okay. It's better to have someone sell your big items. Yep. I think mine is taking longer because I'm over 40 and I've been overseas for working holidays. That's probably had something to do with it. Yep. Pet Lift news sounds encouraging, but how can we find out more about when it might be up? Well, you have to wait until Morgan announces it again. I'm waiting for a sponsor. I spoke to her a few weeks ago. She told me the status. I'm not trying to string people along. I'm not going to do that. So because of this whole green card application debacle and the headless chickens running around, maybe you're self-pressured. What green card debacle? There's no green card application debacle. Waving honey, you're not watching my videos. I clearly did a video and said that it should have no impact on refugees. What debacle are we talking about? Still stuck here. Nothing since October, says Andres. Enjoyed the monologue, says Yvette. Thank you. Pet Home says, I just thought you had to report everything. Oh, yeah, but I'm sorry, Pet Home. Yeah, well, we're talking about criminal things. We're talking about places you've been, not criminal, places you've been. Having that, no. If you have medical screening, that's where it should come up. No, but having an artificial knee is not going to stop. Okay, I got you. I don't understand why you're asking that. My life is simple. I listen to Colonel Hendo, Arctic, Wirebird, going strong, no worries, says Arno. Andrea, thank you for the 140 Rand super sticker. Cindy Little, welcome. Thank you, Colonel. Do they contact all the complete questionnaire, only those who are feeling qualified? They contact everybody eventually, Riki. They don't ignore your application. When will there be interviews in Cape Town? They already do interviews in Cape Town, USA. The way, what are you talking about? They've been doing interviews in Cape Town for almost a year now, since like last August. Well, if you're remembering more instances of racism, okay, if they call you back, you can tell them about that. Yes, Renee, Jasper Milan definitely has persecuted as a minority. Whitebeard gave 700 Rand super chat. Thank you for that, Whitebeard. Appreciate that. It's very kind of you, super sticker. Phone on Friday. I've been waiting for months. Patience is key, says Coco. Someone was shocked today when I comment on a post and I say that we were 191 days after New Year's. We still wait patiently till our time comes. Hey, Susan. Yep. It's myself, my husband, my kids, my mother, my father, but we do not know my husband had to be principal as well, as our kids are under our names, not on dashboard. Uncle went. I still don't understand just what you get. You're going to have to send me an email. I don't understand that. So your father, why would your father be in your case? Your father, obviously you're married. Your father is going to be 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. He wouldn't be on your case. He's not your family. I'm confused. Chris Wyatt, people must listen and repopulate. The green card debacle has nothing to do with this. Exactly. I just said that. Exactly right. Why do I need to make a video? I've already made one. People need to listen. Just stop watching the rest of the crap out there and the clarity will return, says Henry. Yep. Tracy, I was wondering if being in a smaller town would be disadvantageous for people having fingerprints taken, people from the city doing the application the same work on. That's nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it whatsoever. Nothing. You go where they tell you get the fingerprints done, and that's what happens. Needs to make notes as soon as you remember incidents. Yep, exactly. Toothless Wonder, wow, it's been a while. Just want to say thanks for all your time and effort. Most of everything is just common sense. Well, I agree. 9999 Gert, welcome to you. Green card debacle has to do with 1B visas. Breath, people. Exactly, it's full all to do with refugees, exactly. No, Jasper, I know it's not easy, and that's why I say the interviews are difficult. That's why the Kenyans, people abusing the Kenyans, so these Kenyans have to listen to a lot of horrific stories, and they have to have strong character to absorb that and live with your pain. Cool Bean says people that aren't liking the video are just here to aspire to content. I don't know that anybody's disliking the video. Is there actually a dislike on it? I don't know. I don't hide dislikes, so I don't know. Yeah, Charles, you can tell English is not people's first language a lot of times. Rudy, what's going on? You're welcome. Mr. DeClerc, thank you for becoming platoon leader. Appreciate that. Anton, after 14 months, received our approval letter. There you go, 14 months. Anton Prenzler, see? Every day it happens. Upload what is required for you, nothing more the agents will tell you. Exactly. Wait for our fingerprints so they do their own clearance. I don't know what you're talking about there. Who does their own clearance? Katrin applies Singleton. Well, that's fine. It doesn't have any impact. You're welcome, Francois Prinsloo. Go watch all the videos on USRP first before asking questions. Yeah, that's a good point. Did my fingerprints yesterday, was shocked. There's an MIE office in Zeros. My email is not working right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Martin. Waving Hunter, well done. Thank you. You're very welcome. We in the beautiful state of Utah. Oh, you're in Salt Lake City. Oh, well, Courtney McBride is out there. He's a newlywed, just got married. He's one of our viewers. Been with us for a long time, Courtney. He was a leftist when he started watching this program. Now he's a committed conservative. We've brought him took him from the dark side and brought him over. Courtney's a nice guy. He's a Navy reservist. He hosted me when I went out to Salt Lake City and visited. It was really nice to see him. Didn't see any refugees there, unfortunately, but I did see Courtney. Didn't even know there were refugees in Salt Lake City because nobody bothered to tell me before I went out there in October. If we find a job in combination, well, Muino is saying that year 45 worked to traverses and will improve, and so it's not her delay. You don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know where Hisigi was at, Muino. So don't say that. If Hisigi went to North Korea, that's why she's not here yet. Okay, you don't know. You can't see. This is the problem when you all just take what you have and say, "Oh, that applies to someone else." No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Someone could have been in a place that's restricted travel. They could have been in a place that's an issue. Maybe she had a contract here. Maybe she worked for a foreign military. You don't know the circumstances. So don't say that's not the reason. That could be the reason. We don't know. Hey, Martin. If we find a job in a company, should say, well, in South Africa, should we be placed elsewhere? Can we move to? Yeah, you can move wherever you want, but understand, I'm coming with dogs and must set myself up. Well, Snippets, you're coming with dogs. You better find a place that lets you have dogs when you arrive. Otherwise, you're going to be paying kennel. $20, $25 a day per pet's going to eat you alive. It's you can go wherever you want. You're not restricted, but understand that you're going to wind up losing support from your agency. Yeah, Jasper's already started getting rid of stuff. Okay, did my questionnaire and checks, patiently waiting for the next step. My family is struggling on this side. From 21 years, he or she is considered an adult, separate case, but can be linked. Yep. Colonel, when I applied in the intake questionnaire, I made a mistake on the first one and did not complete it. Then I opened up another one and completed it, and now there are two numbers. Well, Mark, you've created a problem. Hopefully they'll be able to sift through it and delete the other application. I told people not to do a second application, and that's why I said do it on a PC and do it on a laptop, and said it since it opened up on November 4th. So I don't generally talk because people think they know everything and they make comment on other people's cases. Exactly. Hisiki, that's what I just said. Colonel, I thank you for your patience during this year with people who should wear signs. Joy Thron, hey Colonel, how you doing there? Toothless Wonder, don't look at the status. Portal's really just upload your documents. Yep. Some questions like reading standard grade versus higher grade. Yep. Do I have to complete the one I made a mistake on? If you've completed the other one, no. You've got to, as long as you got the screen that says it's submitted, make sure you got the screen that said submitted, you took a screen capture, you're good. Or a photo. Why do all the people already say we must be patient, but the people stuck inside are impatient? Because they waited a long time and they got over here and they were impatient like you. We got travel email 27th of April, waiting cultural orientation, the golden tickets. We'll forever be thankful. Okay, Max. Okay, I'm getting close to the end of the chat finally. Veroshka's here. Hey, Veroshka. Veroshka's on this side. How's it going? What is the video called on people wanting to migrate? I don't understand what you mean, Veroshka. You talking about out-migrate? Are you leaving, Carlisle? I'll pay my Wyatt tax. Okay, I don't know if there's a Wyatt tax. Received my tentative travel on the 27th. It's still sane and waiting patiently. For cultural orientation, says Rukulos. Okay. Here's, whoops, it jumped on me again. Come on. I was almost caught up. No, I wasn't almost caught up. I thought I was almost caught up. Jeez. When the chat rate's only 10, I'm just answering a lot of questions. Oh, come on. Come on. My goodness, I was way behind. Okay, that's where I was at there. Okay, Russo, thank you for becoming a team member. My mother-in-law is going to apply. She's 72. There you go. She has to link her case to you. Any idea when USCIS interviews will be in Cape Town? I've already answered that question. They are in Cape Town. They've been going on since August. Are people not listening to what I just said? In case I missed anything on the subject, do you perhaps have any update on the CWS court case? It's not going anywhere. They have no standing. It's just sitting on the docket. 140 rand. Thank you for 140 rand. There's no case. They have no basis. They have no standing to argue against an executive order by the President of the United States. It's done under the law. Our lives the same? No. Our cases will be the same? No. Will out the time be the same? No. Then we must be patient, says Martin. Hey, Tony Pretorius, Truth Seeker Colonel. When I get there next year, definitely want to meet up. Okay? Buy me for chance. Alan says, you would have thought with over 6,000 here already, you would be counting the dollars. Seems most dump on your arrival. Yes, Alan, that's true. But to be fair, a lot of people don't have the money once they arrive here until they get established. But yeah, no, most people simply use my channel to get information for free and to complain and then come over here and then forget about me. Fine. I have no control over that. I appreciate those who watch, but I mean, I understand people have busy lives. They get here, they got things to do, they got jobs to do, they got, stuff, so I got Alan, but thank you for the $10. I know you're over here and I appreciate you sticking with the program. Some people do. Veroshka's still sticking with the program. Thank you, Veroshka. Seems like refugee program paused for the past 2 weeks, suggested 10,000 increase. Nope, nothing paused. That's not true. Why do you say that? What is your evidence of that? I've messaged from people who've arrived in the last 2 weeks. What are you talking about? Why did it pause in the last 2 weeks? Where does that come from? What has happened is what I predicted. What I predicted likely is that the number of people coming over would slow down. People are still coming. It slowed down. Now, why did it slow down? Because we reached the 7,000 cap, or almost reached it. Close to the cap, in order to keep people still coming over and keep the program fluid, keep it moving, just like exercising, keeping your joints limber. You don't stop walking just because you've run up against a wall. You slow down. You slow down from a trot to a walk to bring people in to keep the program going. And then once the cap was raised, you can turn the spigot back on. That's what happened. So where are you getting the information from, Bling? Because I have no such information. Mickey left the Facebook group. Smart move. Fanny, my experience is that the process is not sequential and does not necessarily follow a sequence. Every step must be completed. Correct, Fanny. You are 100% correct. Medicals expire on June 9th. You're going to have to do them again, Spartan God. If they haven't got you on a plane by June 9th, you'll have to do them again. There's nothing I can do to change that. USCS interviews do take place Cape Town as well as medicals. Yep, exactly. It's been going on since August. Russo says, thank you, Chris. Love all your videos. My son approved last October. January is supposed to fly. Had tickets canceled. Yeah, that's unfortunate, Russo. That did happen to some people in January. Some people I knew why. A guy had a medical issue, but I don't know why they canceled some other flights in January. Only a Discord group in the WhatsApp group watching Colonel, says Jasper. Okay. Anita, take care. Not much will happen this week. Don't expect any updates. U.S. public holiday tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. Public holidays in Kenya. Okay. You weren't asked for birthday. That's because you don't need them to apply for the refugee program. I don't know why people think you need them. You need them to apply for the green card. That's what you need them for. After all your videos and lives, the advice you gave are always spot on. Also the mods, thank you. You're welcome, Arno Victus. Chris, what do you think is different between under review? Rousseau, stop looking at the portal. I've explained this. And I'm explaining from the outside, so it doesn't mean I'm 100% correct. Just ignore that, okay? Your case is there. Off-site we had to upload proof of application, birth certificate, marriage certificate to our portal. Okay, that's something that they hadn't required before. Is there another email address? No, there isn't USA in the way, and they're not going to answer that most of the time. Tybee, with all the leftist talks, are you aware if anyone is analyzing data to prove the worthiness for the U.S., i.e. the 6,000 there, how many were working? No, not that I'm aware of. And there's no way to know that information unless you survey the refugee case officers, and even that isn't going to work because we've had probably about 100 people out migrate, maybe more, and so no one's following their case. So there's no way to collect that data other than IRS data a year later. So that's too hard. I mean, you'd have to contact every refugee to find out what's going on and then take their word for it. Is there any correlation between refugee agents that have been problematic to new arrivals in the political in the city? Yes, there is. There is. In New York, we have a lot of problems. New York State, yep. And in California, we have a lot of problems. Do you see a possibly more backlash from the government funds? Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. I didn't mention that in the monologue because I don't want to cover it, but I've already seen several instances of South Africans who can't get their money out of their banks. Their banks have frozen their accounts. Presumably because they're refugees. We don't know why. Not everyone, but some. And there's no reason. They're good banking customers. They have the resource in the bank. They try to move money, and they froze their account. And that's a problem. Don't get rid of your SIM card from South Africa yet. Make sure you paid up for a period of time and use it periodically. Send a text message at least once every 60 days so you keep your account active and keep money on your, if it's a prepaid, okay? Because you might need that number to verify who you are. 4 months since flight's been canceled. There are some people in that situation on the move. Oh, you're welcome, One Pet Home. They have my bridge. She actually asked me if I had an unabridged. Yep, okay. Our medical expired yesterday, my son's last month, since we're under review. Not rebooking. My son is under review, and his medical's not rebooked. Okay. Dwayne Rosso, when you have completed medicals, is there an expiration date? Yes, 6 months. 6 months from the date the medicals are done, they expire. Is an immediate act rejection at USCIS interview for dual citizens? No, it's not. I've already talked about this. Is it possible to prove why I don't want to return? Well, yeah. Do you not have a member of your family who's an adult? Is your spouse not? Are you married? I assume you're married. That's probably an unfair assumption. Do you not have a spouse who qualifies for the program? Then they should be the primary applicant. If you have a primary applicant that qualifies, then you don't need to worry about having a dual passport. But if you've got a passport in the UK and you're trying to come here, you're probably going to fail. If you're the primary applicant, probably going to fail. Yep. And I'm once a blue moon on CBD oil for migraines. Well, if you have, Michelle, if you have a doctor's prescription for that, that's a different story. Random question. Since we applied, Mom is randomly getting emails from Lowe's and CVS. I have no idea why that's happening. Probably because she visited some site in the U.S. and did a search, and then they got your data from there. THC is 3 months in your system. Well, that's news to me, Coco. Maybe it's because it's stronger now than when I was a trooper. Whitebeard, 700 Rand super sticker. Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. Denial of service attack recently. South Korea has a lot of data leaks. Yeah, that's another reason why. One of Prestige's videos said if you get a denial letter, you cannot review. That is correct, Debbie. I didn't know that. One of my viewers said he said that. I looked it up. I researched it. In fact, on the 23rd of April, when I was traveling, they decided that they're no longer accepting your chance. But I always said that your chances were low anyway. If you get a denial letter, your chances are low anyway, because you're appealing to the person who denied you, not to a board above them. It's not like Chris Wyatt denied you, so you're going to go above his head to USCIS and they have a panel. No, if Chris Wyatt denied you, then Chris Wyatt's going to see your appeal. And if you haven't got new information that was unknown to us that clarifies the situation, it's going to be denied again. So it's just a pro forma, so that in order to not waste time, they just got rid of it. Unfair, but it's true. Katja says, don't have words to say thank you for all you do. When I despair, I just watch. Well, thank you. Okay, if you smoke cannabis in South Africa after 2018 that was legal, they inform you it's illegal in the U.S. during the interview and ask you to intend to break the law. Yep. I'm wondering what the statistics are and how many apply for the program. Well, we'd all love to know, but you're not going to find out, probably ever. Hey, Reno, what's up? Irene Fun Oswagen. You're very welcome. I like that less people smoke in the U.S. than other places. No, marijuana is never a good idea, Carlo. I don't understand why people like it. Do you know anything about NICE? National International Center or something? No, I know about National, but not NICE. Never heard of them. Colonel, just to let you know, Ignatius from Virginia is still waiting for kids. Been 2 months since he arrived in Virginia. Kids had to redo their medicals. When you say kids, what do you mean kids? They're not kids. You're talking about adults, right? We don't break up families. If you have minor children, they're here. Don't say kids. They're not kids. They're adults. Mario Boatlift brought 125,000 Cubans to Florida in 1980. That's true. And Joe Biden brought 300,000 Ukrainians here in 3 years, and he brought 167,000 Afghans in 3 weeks. Yeah, I heard you say they hung up on you. You sure they hung up on you, or the phone just didn't die? I mean, they should have called back, though, if it just died. Butter, 140 Rand. Thank you for that. Super chat. Super sticker. For the record, 13 months sober, thanks to Colonel President Trump. Hey, Mickey, that's good to hear. Gus, what's going on, man? How you doing? 2 million Cubans in Florida. Yeah, well, Uncle Bern in America, it wasn't just those who came over the Mario boat lift. Cubans have been coming here for decades, and Cubans have been coming here for decades in the past 40 years, 46 years since then. That's why there's 2 million Cubans. Yep. Thanks for everything. We're still part of September group and still waiting. Okay, hang in there, Adrian. Sorry to hear that. Most only arrived from November onwards in Salt Lake City. Oh, because I got there in October. That's probably why, Mickey. Thank you. Asked questions. They didn't want to stay on the call long. I literally had to go. Please wait before they hung up. Oh, my goodness. Migraines, okay. Henry Swanepoel, thank you for your membership. Can U.S. Thai try and contact our congressman to speed up the case? You go ahead, but you're wasting your time. Go ahead. If you think take that path if you think it's going to do the trick. You're not an American citizen. U.S. Thai has got no relation to the congressman. They can ask. If you have 2 case numbers, you gotta let them know. Says Mickey Dangerous. Waving Hunter says the problem with common sense is not always common. That's why I mentioned the green card thing. No, Waving Hunter, that's fine. Thank you for sharing. All right, come back here, chat. See, the chat jumps on me, guys. Yep, I'm missing some super chats when it does that. Okay, Henry Swanepoel, I got already. The problem with common sense, got that. Okay, from my side, if you've done weed before legalization and are honest about it, and tattoos, take note, you'll have a lot of explaining to do. Be sure your story is factual. Yep. Matters, thank you, whatever that is, someone joining. Awesome to see you again, Colonel. Thank you, Matters of Minds. Okay, the dude before that was amazing, says Delia. Okay. Best quote for 2 Jack Russells, 49 60,000. That's actually a pretty good deal, Bling. If you can get 49 to 60,000 and you get your pet safely, that's incredible. 49,000 is a good deal. I mean, that's 49,000 is like $2,500. That's awesome. Michelle said, Colonel didn't read my UFO comment. No, I didn't. I skipped it. I'm not talking about UFOs. I did skip that. That's one I skipped intentionally. We would just like to know, do you need to settle all your debt? Well, you are responsible for your debt, and there is a reciprocity agreement between the United States for taxation and for debt in South Africa. So that's on you. You should never be a deadbeat on your debt. Settle it before you leave? No, you can still have South African bank accounts. You can still pay your debt on time from here. That's what the family I just interviewed is doing. They have debt in South Africa, and they're paying it off from here. We needed help when we were in Pretoria for our interview, but we were so afraid that we were too late for our interview and had to go back home and wait for the email. I have no idea what you're talking about there. Oh, not a chance happening, Carl. I was wanting to out-migrate to PA. Oh, no, they don't need to come here. We don't need to burden agencies here. Misty says, it's been a while. I just want to say thanks for all you do. Thanks for keeping making videos. You're very welcome. And Cindy, you can pay it off from USA. Oh, so Arctic already answered the question. Mark Sharp, thank you for 20 Rand super chat. We'd love being in USA to celebrate the 250th anniversary with you. Well, yeah, that sounds great too. I have to figure out where I'm going to be on the 250th. I think it would be awesome to be at like Devil's Tower or somewhere like that on the 250th. But that's out in Wyoming. I don't have any plans to go there. Refugee program has taught me patience and pray. I'm just carrying on with my crap life. Now, how will all of us forget about you? You've been such a... Oh, Lizette, well, people have already forgotten about me. There are hundreds, if not thousands of refugees who come to America who don't watch my program. But again, they've got lives to live, so I get it. And also the times are not convenient because they're no longer in South Africa. So I get that, but they could go back and watch it after the fact. Oh, people do forget, Lizette. It's fine. And no one's chained to my channel. And Joe watches every video. Yeah, you do. RC said they couldn't find a case link or make an applying again. Yes, RC is incompetent. Not competent. They're incompetent, Henry Holtz. I've said that many, many times. I actually insist on an in-person interview just so I can give you a hug. Cool beans. Once I have a beer with you. But anyway, okay, well, Delia, I wish they would get you over here because Cool Beans, look, it is not personal, Delia, but Cool Beans has been kind of annoying in the chat. I know he's sitting there, but he's been kind of annoying in the chat. And he's really, so I want you guys over here. I just want you here. So you're here. Not so much for your safety, although that's a concern, but also just so you're here. Anyway, I also want Hasigi over here, you know. Okay, want to share the good news. Just waiting for flight dates. Okay, on time, Prinsley. Good to hear. Our case approved. Okay, I'm almost catching up again. Iceman is back. Almost everything with us sorted now. Just driver's license, job. Hopefully this sorted this week. Got an interview for job coming up. Oh, congratulations, Iceman. Eudora says, thank you, Colonel Chris, for everything. You're welcome. Karen says, any news on the lady whose husband was accosted at the airport? Yes, I spoke to her, but I'm not updating that right now. Just holding off, okay? Charlene Botha, first, thanks for everything. We're under review, but we got a job offer in USA. Cool, okay? No, there's nothing else you can do. You may find if you leave within a month of expiry of your medical that it will be done USA instead. Correct. Join your amazing country as well. Americans among the friendliest. Yes, we are friendly. It's evidently clear that the likes of the Colonel and the American folks' intelligence is on another level. Do you know if anyone get out under review yet? Yeah, yes, Rousseau. Lots of people got under review. And we got people here, it says, pending approval, and they're here in America. Just stop paying attention to the portal. It's useless. It's not for you. I don't know why they tell people to watch the portal. Not with my kids, Brew. They're gone already. Okay. Email just now, an email in your description. Thank you so much. Okay, you're welcome, Tish. I'll take my doctor's script with me. Yep. So 6 months medical expire is the delay, USCS or CAWS. I guess another delay, another second mail. The delay is the investigations, and it's also RSC not being astute about South Africa. It's a married couple, got the divorced and reunited again, have kids together, kids under my app. My fiance, his own app, is approved on trial progress. Okay. Oh, you're reunited again. Okay, Crystal, thank you for sharing that. Okay, super doopy, stupid question. I saw on Facebook group that the questionnaires added questions. For example, they mentioned social media accounts details. Social media accounts were always on there as far as I know, but I can't complete the questionnaire. So they'll ask you about social media because it's a factor. I've always warned you about that. Your social media can bite you in the ass. Yep, all your social media handles, be prepared. Yep. No, they are kids. I have to travel with his ex-wife. Ah, gotcha, favorite. Thank you. Then that's an unusual situation. Yep, gotcha. Anton's still here. Thank you, Anton. Can U.S. tie contact? I already answered that question. Okay. It's way better than you say, don't have to look over your shoulder and live in so much fear, says Shiro. Well, see, there's a lot of people here tonight that are already in the United States. They're watching this program. So not everybody's abandoned the channel. Hey, Trevor, what's going on? Delia says, Cool Beans is just tired of crap. I got you, Delia. I got you. I understand that. I'm empathetic. That's why I haven't blocked him on the channel. Former cabinet minister Omar had a curry. Okay. Saw something on Lily's channel that a cat costs $35,000, just a little more than $2. If you need to pay for a pet to be driven to you from port, yeah, it can be very expensive. It's probably cheaper to fly and collect or rent a car and go get them. You're a godsend, says Adele. You've guided loads of South Africans. You're very welcome. Mickey Dangerous, is the portal really that useless? Yes, it is that useless. Stop paying attention to it. I tell people quit watching the portal. It isn't going to change your situation. You're just stressing yourself out for nothing. Unless they tell you they need something, just ignore it. Brain mouth filter glitches. Delia. Interviews in November, December, 5 months before contact for 30. All that interview, a couple. First interview was in February. We are a cold case since July. It's grueling. Yeah, Martin, I hear you. So is the rush about Virginia failing and becoming... No, it's not. It has nothing to do with anything. That's not going to happen. That's not happening. I've been watching your channel a lot, even though I've been here for almost 2 months. Well, thank you. See, Cheryl, you're still watching it. Okay. Okay, 4 Trekker vans in the background suits you well. You should be one of the clap to sweep. Hey, Carl. Husband is too much of a fan to ignore your channel, says Miki. Okay. Yeah, you guys love the background. Okay, well, there you go, folks. That's the background. That was Blood River. And I was there a couple of times. Been there several times, but a couple of times in recent years. I took that photograph all by myself, though. Okay, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done that already. I'd really appreciate that. 660 likes and got a little bit of super chat revenue. Thank you all for that. Whitebeard gave, what, 700 was it? That was the big one. 700 rand. Thank you for that, Whitebeard. Appreciate it. Okay, the company I'm hiring. By the way, I'm caught up with the chat finally. It took me about an hour to catch up with the chat. If you're going to have wagons in the background, you need to put on your hat. Okay, I'll go get my hat, but it's not going to show up on the channel. So I'll put my... You want me to put my South African hat on or my cowboy hat? So I don't think it's going to show up on the green screen very well. So here's my Tegela hat. There you go. See, it doesn't show up very well. Got to hit it just right. There you go. It's my Tegela hat. You guys like that one? See, that's the problem with the green screen. It's not very good green screen. So that's that one. Okay. And then, of course, I got the cowboy hat. This is what I got out there in Vegas. Yeah, that doesn't come up so well on the channel. See? Anyway. So that doesn't come up so well. So, no, they never responded to me, Armand. I'm going to mail the letter into them. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. The Slag van Bloed Rivier. Yep, that's right. Take away the background. Well, I can do that. And we can add the hat by taking away the background. But people like the background. If I get to USA, my biggest regret would be that I didn't see enough of my country. Well, I understand that. I've probably seen a lot more of your country than you have. I've been all over South Africa. That's for darn sure. So, cowboy hat's better. Yeah, I think it is pretty good. People like the hat more than the background? Are you serious? Okay, I'm going to get rid of the background. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now we got that. Okay, we'll put the cowboy hat on, but the cowboy hat with glasses doesn't seem right to me, so the glasses are coming off. How's that? Oh, there's always a lot of women watching Delia. So when I was at the Bri this past weekend down there in Rockville, Maryland, people were saying goodbye, and I'm like, I'm a hugger, so I hugged all the women, and I said, I always make sure I do it in front of their husbands. Not because I'm afraid, but because I want to make the husbands jealous. Hey, Dylan, how you doing, man? I didn't see you there. So let's just, since we got the cowboy thing on, right, let's just go ahead and do something else. Let's do something else here, okay? Here you go. Play this. Russo, we met in Centurion. Okay. My meet and greet.
The sun wakes up in a golden sprawl over fields of wheat so proud, so tall. Morning whispers, rivers hum their tune. A land where hearts can bloom. The mountains stand like ancient friends, place that never ends. Oh, Twin Falls delight, where the skies shine bright, a Rocky Mountain high, starry night, friendly faces, open doors, a place to dream, a place that's yours. Main streets alive, laughter fills the air, dreams right on the breeze without a care. The Snake River dances under the light, a sight that takes your soul to flight. Here roots grow deep and spirits soar, a little heaven forevermore. Twin Falls delight, where the skies shine bright, a Rocky Mountain high, a starry night, friendly faces, open doors, a place to dream, a place that's yours.
Twin Falls Delight. This song was written in honor of the Hotzenberg family in Twin Falls, Idaho, when I was out there. Twin Falls Delight.
Twin Falls delight, where the skies shine bright, a Rocky Mountain high, a starry night, friendly faces, open doors, a place to dream, a place that's yours.
Yes, people have received WhatsApp calls from RSC, not just from phone numbers, but from WhatsApp. Absolutely. Many people. In fact, that was the primary way they were contacting a lot of people last year, was through WhatsApp. All right, one more of these. One more of these, folks. Here we go. You ready for this one? You ready? This one's in honor of the Langton family in Birmingham, Alabama. This is the first song I did as a tribute song to refugees. Alabama heat melts the road to gold. New faces arrive. With stories untold.
Alabama heat melts the road to gold.
New faces arrive with stories untold.
The air is thick, but the dreams are wide.
South African hearts crossing the tide.
Safe in liberty's embrace, where the stars and stripes find space. Sweat rolls down, but the hope runs deep. Alabama heat, Alabama heat. Alabama heat. Alabama heat. Alabama
Alabama Heat. That was for the Langton family in Birmingham, Alabama. Thanks for that. Anyway, so let's see what I got here. Did I miss anything? Just heard that shots were fired at the White again. Okay, I didn't know that. That was definitely happened yesterday. You're welcome for the good music. Thanks for live. You're always. Thank you, Angelique. I will do a Night Owls tonight. That's correct. Feeling fun to ever wish I had your playlist. Well, these are all songs that I've crafted. I've written the lyrics or cleaned them up with AI, and then use Suno to generate the music with my themes. Okay. 4K, not the cheap, but they last. Cowboys need good gear. Okay. Yeah, what else we got here? I got a headache. Oh, sorry to hear that. Burning electrical cables, probably. Just, okay. Thank you, Mish, for updating us on that. I think we're all just cowboys and cowgirls, wrong cut. No stream will be complete without DJ Silver Eagle in the house, says Karen. Okay. Okay. All right, that's it, folks. We're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for being here. I'll load this onto Facebook as well for those who are on Facebook. All right. Thanks for being here. All right. And I'll leave you with one final song. And that, of course, is The Grass is Greener. So our theme song about coming over here, Grass is Greener. Thanks for being here, and appreciate you joining for this special session. I hope that it answered a lot of questions for people. All right? Cheers. And we'll catch you later, okay? Thanks for being here. God bless. Thank you all so much. Let's go ahead and start that song. Oh, yeah, The Grass is Greener. Cheers, everybody. Be well.
They come to our shores with a suitcase dream, chasing the glow of that golden beam. From far off lands where shadows lie, here they find a brighter sky. Every step, every mile, they're reaching for the American style. The grass is greener in America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for. Factories hum with a steady grace, ideas born in this boundless space. A light bulb flash, a towering steel in every corner. The promise feels real. From the ground to the stars, we're built on dreams, we're raising bars. The grass is greener in America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for. The grass is greener in America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for. The grass is greener in America, where freedom
Folks, thanks for joining me today on this special session talking about refugees and replacement of the Cafe Clutch. I hope you found the information informative and useful. Thank you for your interaction during the chat here on YouTube. For those who catch us after the fact on Facebook, feel free to come over and join us here at Colonel Chris Wyatt on YouTube. I thank you all very much. If you have applied for the refugee program, or you're here, or you're in the process, or you intend to apply for it, I wish you the best of luck. I'm not encouraging anyone to leave South Africa. I'm also not encouraging anyone not to leave South Africa. Those who leave, it's a difficult decision. It's heartbreaking. I appreciate that, understand it. But understand one thing, no matter how many people come over in this program, there will be people who remain in South Africa, and those people will fight for their country. And I wish them the very best. Cheers. There will always be Afrikaners in South Africa. God bless.